Yeah, hello to the CPC community. I wanted to introduce our newest project for the Amstrad CPC, or the Schneider CPC as we Germans say, right? And it is the MegaLambda X6 backplane extender, right? So similar to the Mother X4 or the LambdaBoard backplane expander, right? Offering extension slots, Mother X4 compatible extension slots for the CPC for expansion cards, right? But it offers 6 expansion slots, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it also has the edge connector pass-through for legacy hardware, such as the Amstrad 3-inch floppy disk drive, right? And also it features the pin header expansion port pass-through, like the Mother X4. So, in addition, we have the standard reset button, of course, which is a bit boring, but why not, right? And there's also a power barrel here, a power jack on the side, so you can also power the backplane using an external wall wart 5 volt power supply. I'm just using a 1 amp 5 volt standard power supply, and that works fine. So yeah, I mean, there is definitely some benefit to using an external power supply. You see that in this setup, it's powered entirely by the CPC's internal power supply, right? The monitor is powering it currently. And there are two options. You can either power it from the CPC over the expansion port, or you use the external power supply, right? And so, I mean, if you have more than 4 cards, or for example, the DDI-3, like I'm plugging it in now, right, that draws a little bit more power. So you see it's coming on, right, and in principle it still works fine, right? So I can use the DDI-3 here, even with the CPC monitor power supply, no problem. But the display, you know, is a little bit dim, and for sure it wouldn't harm to add an extra power supply, right? And that's what we can do. So let me show you how to use the external power option for the MegaLambda board. So here we have it, right? And on the front, basically, here is the power configuration jumper. So here's a double jumper, right? It's a double jumper, so in order, so just to make the lines a little bit thicker, so they can conduct better and have lower resistance for more current, right? And on the left side, you know, if the double jumper is on the left, the CPC expansion port is powering the backplane, but else you can, you know, move the jumpers to the right, like I'm doing now, and then you will use the external power jack, the barrel connector here, to power the expansion backplane. So, and now I moved it to the right, and also we have a little LED here, a power LED. The main purpose of this one is it only comes on when the backplane is powered over external power, and it's mainly used for polarity check, right? So the center polarity of the barrel jack is center positive, so the tip has to be positive of the power supply. And now if we plug that in, we will need an external power source here, right? So let me plug that in, and you see that the expansions are coming alive immediately, even though the CPC is not on. And also notice that the CPC is not powered yet, right? So we are not feeding the power from the external power supply back into the CPC. In fact, the 5 volt line is not even connected to the CPC expansion port. That means we also don't need a diode like we have it in the Mother X4, for example, for reverse polarity protection, right? So in case of external power in the MegaLambda, the external 5 volt power line is simply not connected to the CPC. Only ground is connected then, right? So let's power up the CPC, and there you have it. And yeah, maybe let's load a quick game here. I still have one actually. But you see that the DDI is working, and also here that the other expansions are working, right? And we also see that that little power LED has now come on, basically demonstrating that polarity of the external power is of course correct. So yeah, that's what it is. And so the Gerbers are already on GitHub. I hope you'll find it useful. It's available for download, and so you can get 5 of these PCBs basically for $20 plus $15 shipping or so. And yeah, it's a lot of soldering though, right? It's like 400 something solder points, right? 7 times actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 50, right? That's 400, and then a few more here. So but if you are skilled with a soldering iron, you probably need like 20 or 30 minutes in order to assemble one. So enjoy. And yeah, I should notice that the idea is from TFM, right? The future man, Stefan, from the German CPC wiki forum. So we did chat about this project on the forum, and he suggested that he would really like to have such a backplane extender that has a few more slots, right? And that 6 would be sufficient. And you see it's already pretty long, so it doesn't even fit on my little table here. So one option might be, to basically change the cable a little bit and maybe move it, align it horizontally instead of perpendicular to the CPC. And as you might know, I did other projects with Stefan, the future man, TFM before. For example, he did the firmware, not the firmware, the CPC software, right, the RSX extension ROM for LambdaSpeak 3. And then we also did a cost-reduced version together, right? And it also has his logo here, Future, Captain Future Man, the LambdaSpeak FS for FutureSoft, right? So yeah, and this is our newest project here, so the MegaLambda X6. Alright guys, that's what I wanted to share with you, and hope you'll find it useful. And yeah, one more thing, of course. So not only is an external power supply useful for if you want to power, power-hungry expansion cards, or you have even 6 or so, it's fully populated, right? Then, but also for keeping state, right? So for example, if I select the disk image now here with the DDI-3, right, and I can simply power down the CPC, right, and the next time I power up the CPC, the expansion cards still have their state, right, which is of course very useful, because I don't need to select my disk image again whenever I power cycle the CPC. So yeah, it definitely benefits to using an external power supply, right? Alright guys, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.